A hike to coal royalties will help fund a major spend for Queensland hospitals. It's the key focus of the 2022-23 state budget. There will be 3 new hospitals built, one in Toowoomba, Coomera on the Gold Coast and in Bundaberg. It's part of a $9.8 billion health plan. 11 more will be upgraded across the state. To maximise the mining bonanza, coal royalties will be moved to a tiered system, so when prices are high, government coffers will receive more. Payroll tax on companies with wage bills over $10 million will pay more, but those small and medium businesses earning less will pay less. In handing down his third budget, Treasurer Cameron Dick revealed the state will deliver a surplus at the end of this month before the books go back into the red. State political reporter Rachel Rieger has the details.
It's the lucrative export propping up the state's coffers.
We are back in black.
Queensland's budget will sign off the financial year with a $1.9 billion surplus, driven by record coal and oil prices and a booming housing market.
That has allowed this budget to build on our extraordinary economic recovery and standing.
The budget will then fall into deficit over the next 2 years before posting a predicted $137 million surplus in 2024-25. Net debt is expected to double over the next 4 years to $39.2 billion.
I believe we're delivering the best budget that we've actually delivered for the people of this state.
Due to soaring coal prices, mining companies will be hit with higher royalty rates after a 10-year freeze. Currently, they're charged 15% for coal worth $150 per tonne. As of July, there'll now be 3 tiers ranging from 20 to 40%.
At a time of very high profits at very high prices, Queenslanders deserve a share of that to go back precisely into the jobs, services that they need.
There will also be a mental health levy which will generate $1.64 billion over 5 years, funded by big business. Companies with a national payroll of more than $10 million will be taxed, while smaller businesses will get relief. As previously announced, the gambling tax for betting companies will rise from 15% to 20%.
The Treasurer promised 26 times not to increase or introduce any new taxes. Today, he has broken that promise.
The people of our state knew what I was saying when I said it. We were very clear. We were very upfront.
Health is the budget's centrepiece, with $23.6 billion in total allocated next financial year. About $9.8 billion has been earmarked over the next 6 years to build 3 new hospitals, expand 11 current hospitals and deliver 2,200 additional beds. The Premier says it will ease hospital pressures.
This is the biggest investment that Queenslanders have ever seen, and will be delivered over the next 6 years.
The spend on health has received a lukewarm welcome.
We needed that spending to be had yesterday. Over the next year, what we're seeing is just an increase really to cope with inflation, which is not enough to make up for the neglect that the state system has been in.
So that is very pleasing. But in the meantime, our paramedics, patient transport officers and EMDs are going to struggle because it's going to take years for that kind of thing to have an impact.
The Queensland Council of Social Services says there's little in the budget to address the rental crisis and cost of living pressures.
I don't know how you can say that you can build a record number of new hospitals, but you can't build social housing.
Little relief for those doing it tough.
Well, state political reporter Rachel Rieger joins us live now from State Parliament. Now, Rachel, the mining industry is propping up the state's books. So how does it feel about this tax?
Lex, the industry says it's outraged with this tax. It has labelled it as a tax grab. It says it currently pays the highest royalty rates in the country, and this will see it pay the highest in the world. So the Queensland Resources Council says this will force companies to reassess their future investments in the state.
And Queensland has shown that it's not reliable as an investing destination. That is going to cost jobs well into the future, and those jobs will be predominantly in regional areas.
So this tax will generate an additional $1.2 billion over the next 4 years for the state, but the Treasurer says he isn't sorry. He says coal companies have been making record amounts, and when they do, it's only fair that that money is reinvested back into Queensland hospitals, schools and the regions. Lex?
All right, thanks, Rachel Rieger at State Parliament. Well, let's go to the architect behind the big spending budget, Treasurer Cameron Dick. Now, Treasurer, you keep on saying you haven't broken your promise on no new taxes, but surely that's exactly what you have done.
No, I was asked about business and my response was very clear, no new taxes. And this is the proof. This is a media release issued by the Queensland Resources Council on the Thursday before the election. Companies knew the promise didn't apply to them. The promise was made to the people, which is why they campaigned after I made the promise all the way through the election.
Treasurer, with all due respect, though,
and now delivering for Queenslanders.
But with all due respect, October 2020, the quote's here. OK, make it clear there's no new, under Labor, no new taxes, full stop. So haven't you gone back on your word?
No, absolutely not. The election was about the people, our promise was to the people, and that's what we've delivered. And these revenue measures will now improve regional hospitals, improve regional racing, and very importantly, support mental health care for some of our most vulnerable Queenslanders. And I'm really proud to be able to deliver that for our state.
Treasurer, looking at health and the AMA, we've heard from them, they're just saying you're just playing catch up, basically giving the over 5% increases, just keeping up with inflation.
No, our budget increased for healthcare 13% over 2 years. We put on thousands of additional doctors, nurses and allied health professionals, and we've delivered 1,300 beds since we have been elected, with about another 900
No, but we're talking about this budget,
pipeline.
though.
So
Treasurer,
that's what
we're talking about this budget. They're saying it's just keeping up with inflation. Like, will it, fix the ramping problem? And how will you find the 10,000 staff that you want to hire?
Well, the AMA called for 1,500 beds and we're delivering 2,200 across the length and breadth of Queensland. And we're delivering more than 250 over the next 2 years alone. So altogether, 2,500 additional beds in the budget. And when we get those beds built, that will free up capacity in our hospital system and that will help Queenslanders wherever they live across the length and breadth of Queensland.
All right, Minister, I guess you can't please everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Lexi.